still watching Kababayan LA a few minutes before 5 p.m. We'd like to remind everyone polls close at 8 p.m. So please get out there and vote. Let your voices be heard. Especially, we were talking about this earlier too, Ben. We need a collective voice.
Yes, and it's one thing just to go vote, but collectively our voice is louder. You know, sometimes we're in a room, if you hear a lot of people talking, that's a collective voice. And if we have a collective voice on issues such as immigration, issues such as the economy, issues that are facing our youth, education, student loans, you know, veterans' rights, veterans' issues, it's louder and people listen.
Right. And Ben is joining us. Hello and welcome to the show. You flew all the way from Washington, D.C. What brings you to California?
Well, I'm working on exit polling work in San Diego with the Filipino-American community there. So nonpartisan stuff. We're excited to bring out the community to do multilingual exit polling to find out what the Filipino community's interests are.
All right. Earlier we were going by the numbers that Ben had to talk about how engaged Filipinos are. Melissa, of course, is from Kaya. But you were there. You got to mingle with them. What is the atmosphere out there? How involved are Filipinos? How enthusiastic are we to be a part of this process?
I think people are really excited. You know, we've been part of the electorate for so long, but it's only in recent years where our political voice has been heard. You know, in terms of the work that our manongs have done in raising the Filipino World War II veterans as a cause that's not only resonant within the Filipino community, but in the broader community as well, especially in Washington, D.C., where we were able to pass legislation for them.
And not just voting, a lot of Filipinos are also, not a lot, there's a number of Kababayans that are running, and we've been emphasizing this. Just because they're Filipinos doesn't mean that we automatically vote for them. What do we look for in a candidate, especially coming from you who actually ran the Asian Pacific American Leadership Program?
Well, I think whether or not we agree with folks on issues, I think Filipinos are all about getting kind of, you know, down into it in terms of having really rich political discussions. So I think whether or not you agree with folks on the issues, it's more important that they know how to talk to us. You know, I think people know when we're being snowed. People know when they're just sort of paying lip service. But when a candidate can really talk to us, you know, maybe they'll blurt out some incorrect, you know, some kind of like, you know, Tagalog, something that may not be quite right. But if they're trying to get it.
So don't take it personal. Look at the issues that they stand for and look at how they listen.
And if they know that it resonates, if they know how to make it resonate with us.
Okay. You know? How do we get more people involved, more Kababayans involved? Is it because of our culture that we're not involved? Is it?
Well, I think it does have to do with culture. And historically, we've been definitely more passive on some issues and just don't want to we just don't come together. There's also crowd mentality in our community, but right now, moving forward, all we have to do is just talk about the issues that all of us care about and then see how we could all come together and advocate on that.
And even if there are no Filipinos running for office that you want to support, even if they're non-Filipinos, one of the things that you've been mentioning earlier is not just to vote, not just to run for office, if you think you're capable, to give.
Yes, and in our community, I think we have an issue with that. Giving out of all the ethnic minorities, I think Filipinos probably at the lowest spectrum in giving. That's one thing we should raise. The Latino community, excuse me, has a good way of giving. There's established network. The Jewish community, the Korean-American community is ahead of the game. I think the Filipino community is just behind there, just ready to go. If we can establish, you know, a donor network, it's a lot easier for candidates to run if there's established Filipino network of donors, you know, statewide, for instance.
Right, because what you give now are supporting candidates that will perhaps nurture, protect your interests, or cater or address your issues when they get into office. Biggest takeaway from today, from the election from this year, last 30 seconds on the show.
I think we're at a really exciting moment. You know, the Filipino community has been engaged. You know, we got a victory with our veterans. We have an ability to talk about things like immigration, you know, with folks like Jose Antonio Vargas. And our folks are really primed to take a leading role across the country in any aspect.
And it's just a matter of pushing forward. And one of the steps to do that is to go out and vote, get out and vote if you can, please. Thank you so much for joining us today on Kababayan LA. This has been Janelle Sawyer, Kababayan in Los Angeles. Thank you to our guests. I'll see you again tomorrow.